All right, welcome back to 3+U. We have got an incredible setup. Our friend Brandon Lewis is here with Painter Ready, and basically what we're talking about, Brandon, is folks are going to be doing a lot of stuff getting ready for the holidays, toward the end of the year, and one big thing has to do with wallpaper and getting wallpaper off. That's the big thing. You've set up a great display. Tell us what we need to know here.
Well, everyone likely at some point in their time has lived in a home with some hideous wallpaper. This is not necessarily hideous, but I've seen some pretty rough stuff. It ain't great, in my opinion. If you've got this in your home, I apologize thoroughly. But, you know, wallpaper is something that's very difficult to put on. It's rarely put up right, especially if it's put up in a new construction environment. And it's hard to get off of the wall, and people often call somebody after they get frustrated with it, or maybe they do it themselves, and we're here to help them figure out how.
And everybody thinks there's this magical, wonderful thing. Maybe it's steam, maybe it's a certain solution that will just make it come off the wall easily. Is there a magic thing that you can do?
There is. There's 3 beans. You plant them, you wait until the spring. I'm just joking. So if you're going to get this stuff off...
Brandon, you had my hopes up there for about 10 seconds.
But there's all kinds of different ways. I mean, they sell... Of course, we have a steamer up here, and if you can see, all this stuff actually gets used out in the field. We have steamers here. Some people like that. My men have different preferences. Some of them spray hot water on there and then scrape off the backing. Some people use products like Diff here and use a wet sponge. So people tackle it in different ways.
And if you're going to do it with solution or steam, you need to make sure you're not soaking the drywall or whatever is behind, too. That's why you use the sponge,
Absolutely.
right?
The most important, I guess one of the biggest errors that people make is they try to get all of the wallpaper off too quickly, and they end up damaging the sheetrock as they try to take off the backing. As you can look here, this is the step 1. You've got your wallpaper on the sheetrock. Step 2, what's left is this annoying backing.
Yeah.
And if it's glued directly to the veneer, what happens when you try to scrape it off if you don't moisten it is you gouge the wallpaper veneer off, and then you're in trouble.
Now, if people are, before we go down the line, if people are going to put wallpaper up, you recommend that they don't put it directly on sheetrock if it's a new construction or what have you. Make sure that you put a layer of paint or something underneath.
Absolutely. It's called sizing. Really what that means is you put a primer on there. They make particular products for sizing. I'd recommend buying those. Sometimes you can put a little bit of sand or something in your paint, and when you get ready to finally take this stuff off, it should just almost come off in big sheets, very easy, and move on to the next thing. It's like one of those items, if you skip just a little step, you're going to get yourself a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Now let's go on down the line. So we get all of the wallpaper off, and I'll let you do the walking. But we get all the wallpaper off,
yes, sir.
And then what do we do here?
Here is, if you look here in this step, all of the wallpaper backing is off, but you can still see some of this glue. Now you have to make sure that you take that sponge and you really get all the glue off. If you don't, and particularly if you use a latex primer, you'll get it all painted, it'll look beautiful, and in about 3 days it'll bubble up on you, and you'll be kicking yourself, and you have to redo the whole thing.
And this is just one very small square. I mean, we're talking about walls and walls and walls.
You're absolutely.
This is a big chore. Okay, and then with the bright white?
Yeah, what you want to do, and this is multi-purpose oil-based primer. I know that everybody's moving away from oil-based primers and anything that has volatile organic compounds, but some things just work better. It's like the worse the cough syrup tastes, the better it works. This is the worse the paint smells, the better it works kind of deal. And what we do here is make sure that we put this in, that seals in the glue, make sure that there's not any bubbles if there is anything left that you've missed, and then you put a coat of paint on it. This just has one coat on it, and you can see that it's not quite done, and that's why it's very important whenever you're coating a surface to do it twice.
Brandon Lewis with Painter Ready. Are there any shortcuts that you can take? You've got wallpaper up. You don't want to go through the hassle of all of this. Can you just put wallpaper over wallpaper?
Absolutely. You can put wallpaper over wallpaper. Just make sure that anything that is bubbling or messing up, that you cut that out and then glue down anything that might give you trouble down the road.
And I think I know the answer to this, but you want the option of going from wallpaper to paint. Can you paint directly over wallpaper, or can you put something over that'll make the paint stick to it?
The simple answer for that is cut out the seams, cut out any bubbling areas, prime it with oil, mud all of the uneven areas, and then put 2 coats on it. But if it's a long-term project, I'd recommend that you just take it off. If you're selling the house, it might be a good idea.
And finally, a lot of older homes in this area that don't have sheetrock, or they have the plaster rather than sheetrock. Any difference in how you would treat it?
It's going to be a lot harder. The big thing that you'll want to make sure of is to be very, very careful with that old, delicate plaster before you have a larger issue on your hand than just wallpaper.
Brandon Lewis, he's the best in the business. Painter Ready, they can get it done as well. And if you have any questions, you want to get Brandon's expertise, give him a call. Painter Ready of Chattanooga, 648-4408. And Brandon's going to come over to the house and get all the wallpaper off of my house a little bit later today. Was that what you said?
That's part of the deal.
Yeah, right. All right, we're back with more 3 Plus U right after this.